Hey guys, there was some talk about you guys wanted to see a video on the Hayabusa tire removal. Ah, psych, this is the baby Busa. We're over here. Okay, so what we got going on here? We get comfortable. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna obviously jack the bike up. This is on a Generation 1 Hayabusa. I removed one caliper. I'm going to take my brake shoes out, or pads rather, and we're going to replace those. I'm going to go to the store and pick those up. And so there's two bolts here. I got them in my bucket there. I keep all my parts separate. That way I know. I'll clean up the bolts, make sure they're all good, and then torque them. I've got my manual. Check out the specs on that. So that's just the start, and then of course I got to do the opposite side. But very easy. Two bolts here, pull that off. I'm going to pull out the pads, and then over here I've got 1, 2, 3 bolts to take off the fairing for the front tire. Pull that off, and then that obviously will make the wheel a lot easier to remove. So I'm going to pause this right now, continue on, and we'll take it from there. Alright, so I took both sides of the caliper off, and those were bolts, and that was a 12mm, I don't know if you can see that, 12mm socket that I pulled the two calipers off left and right, and then there was 1, 2, 3 bolts, or I should say screws, these little guys here, that inset there, 3 on this side, 3 on the other side, and remove those, and then I'm starting to remove the fender for it. Now I did have a little bit of issue with that without trying to, you know, bend or break anything, so a little bit of maneuvering, you got to be careful with that. And that there is for your brake line, so I had to maneuver that a little bit and bend in funny shapes and stuff. And after I'll take all this off, I'll clean this all up again, ready for installation coming back, so get rid of all the dirt and everything. But so there we go, nice and easy, comes right up.
You forgot to take your schizophrenia pills.
So yeah, I took that off. I was rudely interrupted by the wife saying that I forgot my schizo pills, but anyway. Kind of funny. I may or may put that in there or not, but you can tell this tire is shot. There's a wear bar right there. Okay, this tire's hooped. I'm gonna go and take that in and get that replaced. So next, we're gonna take this, slide the axle out, pull out the front wheel. Should be good to go, and we'll be golden. I'm sure I'll get a few more interruptions. All right. Here we go. Back this off through here, pull that out, pull the sleeve out very carefully, and that was it. The shaft came out pretty good. Of course, everything I'm just going to leave as is, so it's going to be easy for reassembling. Now I'll take the tire in and get a new one remounted. Okay. So I got a, there was 2 machine screws. This is one hand, it's kind of hard. There's one here and one up there. Those are the Allen number 3 metric, obviously, with the inspection plate. Pull that off. Put them in my bucket for left and right. This is going to be a double. There's 2 pads in there. There's a little, if you can see that, there's a little cotter pin right there. We're going to pull that out, and then this pin slides out, and then you should have access to your pads, and of course identical to the other side. Okay, it's out. Of course, you pull out the pin, and then you slide the, you can see there's a hole right there. You slide that, pull that cotter pin out, slide the pin out, and boom, you've got your brakes in your hand. Okay, sucks doing everything with one hand. I'm going to re-put this cotter little pin back in. Oh, I can't do that. I'll do that after, but don't want to lose my parts and pieces. I'll clean all these little guys up here, make sure it's good and smooth operation again. I'm just going to use the typical brake cleaner. So this is what it looks like. Kind of thin. Get some new ones, slap some new ones in there. We should be good to go. Okay guys, so just a continuation here. I don't have the tire yet. I had to drop it off. I was too late in the afternoon. They may or may not call me back today, but for sure it'll be ready in the morning. So what I got is the these are more of a street track high performance braking. They you need to heat them up a little bit more, but to do brake a little better. It's a metallic compound versus an organic, so they stop a little better. Basically putting like for like on, and yeah, we'll slap those in right now. I'm just cleaning up the parts on the brakes, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so put some new ones in there, and of course there you go. Slide the pin, put the cotter pin back in, everything's back to normal. Of course, just separate those a little bit there so you can slide it over your disc. These are done. Now I'll just do the other side. Okay, both brakes are in. Okay, this is the tire 120/70, and it is another like for like. What I wanted to show you though, take note, there's only one way you can put the tire on, and you have to have it in the right direction. You don't have it in the right direction, you're not going to get the proper. There's another arrow over there. You don't want to reverse it, okay? You don't want to spin that around this way, because that's just not going to work, right? Only goes one way. Okay, so this is the tire I put on there, basically like for like 120/70. It's Pilot Power. Also, check the arrows. You got to make sure you put it on the right way. Okay, and what I'm going to do while I have it off, still, it's easier to clean up and get inside in there versus when you put everything back together and you put the fender back on. Much difficult to clean. Here I have it all off. I'm going to clean it, wax it, and it's done while I have it off. A little bit of wax helps prevent brake dust getting back on the wheels, and it's supposed to repel it a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, we're going to torque this. Torque specs is 72.5 pounds. Take the torque wrench, and I've got that dialed in correctly. We'll do that next. Also, while I'm looking here, I'll tell you the specs for the caliper. That has to be torqued for the brake calipers. These boys here, when you get this bad boy back together and you get those on, those are going to be torqued at 28 foot-pounds. And of course, after you're done with your torque wrench, you want to dial it back to 0 and put it away. Never leave it dialed back in. Otherwise it goes out of sync. So torque it. This one here is going to go at 72.5. These bad boys here for the calipers, they're going to go at 28 pounds, both sides, left and right. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, these two guys here, these are going to be torqued at 16.5 pounds. I forgot to mention. Also, when you're taking this out, this shaft off, on the other side there's a couple of bolts as well. Right there. Never ever ever loosen those. Okay, always these. That way I've already got this torqued. That way you can pull it out. Next I'm going to torque these bad boys. 16.5 pounds, foot-pounds. Alright, so I got this in here just finger tight, and this one here is finger tight. The reflector here is loose right now. That way I can gain access for these guys here when I mount the front fender here. Okay, so leaving this here. So this is all loose, and then later I'll do that on the other side. Same thing. Everything will be loose. I'll secure the fender, then I'll torque these bad boys down. Alright, good. Everything's cooking still. We got these guys here. I got hand tight, finger tight. That's it, okay? So I'm going to do, I got these guys lined up. I'm going to go line that on the other side up. Put those other three in. And then once they're, that way you can still move it, right? And it doesn't crush the plastic or crack it. And then after the fender's complete, we're going to go back, finish this, reset these guys here, torque these down. Okay, so now I got to clean up the mess here, and just took it outside. One thing I didn't cover for you guys was sun's on this side. It'd be better to see is the inspection plates. These guys here, I didn't show you. I put those back on. I just put them on now. Made it easier for me to split the brake shoes to put the disc through the two shoes. So I just put that on and clean up the mess and go for a ride, and hopefully I don't kill myself and I did everything right. Over and out, guys.